Hey guys, in this video we're going to make this sipping bowl start to finish with you. We're going to throw the clay, we're going to trim it up, we're going to fire it, glaze it, get the whole process done so you can make your own. So this bowl, it's 6 inches wide by 3 inches deep, and it does have a little sipping spout so you can sip or pour anything that you're using out of this bowl. So this bowl is glazed in our sunrise glaze. So it's an orange layered with a pink opal on top, and it creates this nice sunrise effect. It's 100% food safe, dishwasher safe, and microwave safe. So you can find our glazes for sale online on swancityceramics.com, or you can use any glaze that you want. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna weigh out all of our clay. So let's go. All right, so we have a chunk of clay here out of our bag, and we're going to weigh out 2 pounds on our scale here. So let's use our wire tool and cut off a chunk. It's almost right. There we go. I'm gonna keep it consistent. We always start at 2 pounds for our bowls. And then we're just gonna take this piece of clay and wedge it right into a cone form so we can start throwing. When we wedge our clay, we're using one hand, our right hand, to fold our clay onto itself so that we can push out any air bubbles that would be in this clay right out to the side. And then our left hand is used as a rotation for our chunk. So this is called spiral wedging. And you can see right here, we had a little air bubble that popped right on out. We're just gonna keep doing that. Rotate it right into a nice spiral, over and over, and we're just folding it onto itself, little by little. There we go, and then we can squish it right into a nice cone form to start. We'll take this, we'll throw it right on the wheel. Want to secure our ball of clay to our bat just by pressing it down, making sure there's no air between the clay and the bat itself. So with a little bit of water on our hands, we're going to start centering this clay up. Just pushing from 2 opposite angles, pushing all of our clay up towards the center of gravity, and then from one side down, pressing all of our clay back down into the center, using our opposite hand as a brace all the way down. Let's do that again. Pressing straight up towards the center, making sure all of this clay is centered on this wheel. Straight up. While you're centering, you do want to go a little faster on the wheel head. There we go. Now I want to start kind of with this little mushroom shape. Let's see. We'll slow it down a little bit, and we're going to open this form up. So we're just going to find the center with our fingers and then press down slowly. And then once you get about 1/4 inch from the base, we're gonna take our hand and pull straight towards our bodies, opening up the bottom. Once you open it up a little bit, just compress the rim with your other hand. And we're gonna go in here and compress the base as well, just so that we can push all of the clay particles together. We don't want any cracks, so this will prevent that. I'm just going a few times over this, maybe 4 or 5 times, pushing all the clay together from the center to the edge. So before we start pulling our wall up, I want to get all of our clay in the right formation. So I'm just going to push what we have here a little closer towards the center of gravity. We want to get the height down before we start opening up this bowl. Then we grabbed a little ball of clay, pulled it right up towards the center, compressing the lip. Let's do that one more time. We're going to find some clay right down here at the bottom. Take this bulge, pull it right up towards the center, all the way up. Go. I'm going to start forming the bottom of this bowl. So during this next pull, I'm going to start pulling it outwards. Go all the way up. We're opening up the lip a little bit and then compressing when we get to the top every time. As your bowl gets wider, you want to slow your wheel head down as well. This will help with any flaring that you don't want to happen. You want to control how wide you want this bowl to be. All right, so let's grab a little more clay here and let's open it up. Right now I'm going to shape the bottom of this bowl. I want it to be rounder. So I'm going to go in and just push from the inside out, creating the shape that we want to have here. All the way up to the top. Along the way, taking any water out that's laying on the inside. I'm going to do that one more time. Let's shape up the bottom of this bowl. All the way up to the top, compressing the lip. All right, let's check our dimensions here. See if we need this to be a little wider or not. Almost, looks like we need about a 1/4 inch more, so let's make it happen. You get pretty low, you actually look at this bowl and make sure everything's looking the way that we want it to look. Push out a little bit more, all the way up from the bottom to the top. There we go. Compressing the rim when we get to the top. Six inches wide, perfect. Now, one thing that we really like to add is a little swirl on the inside. So just with our finger, we're going to start in the center, pressing down quickly, pulling out, adding a small swirl at the bottom of this bowl. Then we can go down here, take out a little extra clay that's kind of just hanging there from throw-in. The last thing we're going to do is add the little spout onto the edge here. So with a wet finger and a dry hand, we're going to hold the bowl flat so that we don't warp the whole rim. And then your other hand you want wet. We're just going to slowly pull back and forth, pulling a lip out of this bowl. So you just want to move your finger back and forth slowly, pulling a small lip out of this bowl. There we go. Once this is dry, we'll go in and just make sure that all of our finger marks are smoothed out with a sponge. You don't want to touch it too much in this state. So let's pop this off. We'll let it dry for let it dry for about 24 hours, and then we'll trim it up tomorrow. All right, so we have our bowl here ready to be trimmed. It's leather hard, so it's not malleable anymore. It'll be good to go for trimming. We did let it sit up for 24 hours. So since yesterday, it's been in our enclosed shelving unit, just drying out slowly. So in order to trim it, we're just gonna flip it upside down and center it up on the wheel here. So just using one finger to get a good idea of where the center of gravity is. We're just gonna move it back and forth until it's perfect. There we go. So we just use a little cork to apply pressure to the piece so it doesn't slide off of our wheel head. And then using our loop tool, we're gonna come in here and trim away most of the base that we left. Just going from the top to the bottom, rounding our bowl off, finding its shape. We did leave a fair amount of clay down at the bottom because when you create a larger bowl with a wider mouth, you have to leave a little more clay at the bottom so it doesn't collapse on itself. So right now we just want to find a nice round shape along the side. And we do want a small footed ring right at the top. So I'm going to go in with the 90-degree angle side of our tool here and just create a nice shelf for our foot. For our bowls, we want our foot to be tall enough that we can grab it so that when we are glazing, we can do a full dip into the glaze. Just trimming away as much as possible. I want the base of this foot to be the same thickness as the rim. Go in and just tighten up this footed ring a little bit more. I like to be eye level with the piece so I can really see what the silhouette looks like, what this outside edge really gives us. All right, from here, we're going to trim away a little hidden ring on the interior of our foot. We want this piece to kind of match the flow of the bowl itself. So I'm going to leave a ring that's about half an inch. Give myself a little guide right there, and we're going to carve away all of this interior here. Just take our time. Carve away until it feels like it's the same thickness as the rest of the piece as well. So right here I'm going to make the corner a little deeper, and I want it to mimic like it's continuously flowing, this bowl. Its shape just continues underneath the ring that we're going to carve away. I like to take my time here because you can always take a little more away, but once you go too far, you can't add more. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a little bit off of the top of this foot so we can even it out. I just want to go in here and just sharpen everything up where I want it sharp. So I want this little edge to be a little sharper, a little smoother right there, and a little sharper right there. I'm going to hit this whole piece with our sponge, just smooth out any trimming marks that we would have left. Don't want to use too much water. I just want to kind of wipe it down. There we go. All right, now the last thing we're going to do is add our stamp. So we do have our stamp right here. It sits in a little pot of baking powder. This just keeps our stamp clean from any moisture, gives it a nice crisp look once we apply it to the piece. So, bracing the bottom of the pot, I'm just going to line up our stamp here with the lip of our piece. Find the center, press down firmly, and rock it back and forth. I have our stamp, Swan City Ceramics, handmade in Florida. All right, so we have fully trimmed this piece in its leather hard state. We added a little footed rim to the bottom and our stamp. So we're going to set this up on our shelving unit for about a week here, let it dry slowly until it's completely bone dry. And then that way all the moisture will be out of this clay. It'll be ready to get fired in a bisque kiln. We fire our bisque kilns to cone 06. That's about 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. And then once that firing is completed, we'll bring it back to our studio and glaze it together. We got this bowl straight out of the bisque kiln and we brought it back to our studio. We also dunked it in water just to get rid of any clay dust that would have been on there. We let it dry out, so now it's ready to get glazed. We're going to tape up the foot of this piece, just put a little tape line right around the edge where we want a really crisp straight line to be, and we're gonna dunk this in our glaze. So we are gonna glaze this one in our sunrise combo, which is orange glaze first with a pink opal on top. So we wanna get this really nice and crisp line. Take this tape right here and just find exactly where we want our line to be. Hold it pretty tautly and just wrap around the whole piece. Nice. So we are gonna dip this in our glaze and pour our glaze in the top. So we've got our orange right here ready to go. I'm just gonna give this a nice stir. Make sure all the minerals are mixed up. Just take a pitcher, and what we're gonna do is pour some orange right into the center here, slowly. We're gonna give this a little swirl to get it totally covered on the inside as much as possible. I want to go over it 2 or 3 times. And then with a spinning action, we can get the rest of the lip of the bowl glazed, just like that. We're gonna go in here for a dunk. Let's just get this nice and mixed up one more time. And I'm gonna dunk it up to the tape that we have created, this tape line. I'll go in and just hold it for 3 seconds. Come right out. And then I'm just gonna hold it upside down for another second or two to let that last little drip, dry out. There we go. Perfect. Let's put this one aside. We're gonna let this dry for probably like 3 or 4 minutes until it's totally fresh and not tacky anymore. Then we're gonna go over it with our pink opal. Our orange first coat has dried, and we're going to add a layer of our pink opal. We're just gonna brush this on. Just try to create an even layer all the way around the outside. There we go. Flip. Keeping our glaze stirred up as we go. Go. Flip it upside down. Stir up your glaze. Let's create a nice even layer on the inside as well, all the way around. Then let's catch our rim. Let's put a little bit of glaze around the rim. Then I'm going to give this piece a once over and see if any spots were missed. Just kind of fill that in there. Now I want to let this dry again, and we're going to add one more layer to it once this coat has dried. Look, looks good. All right, now we can pull our tape off of the bottom. So this was to create a nice crisp edge for us. So I'm just gonna find the ending of our tape and pull upwards around the whole piece. Then we can go around the bottom and clean up any spots that might have gotten underneath the tape line. Go. The next step is to fire this guy in a kiln, and we're gonna fire it to cone 6. We finally have our bowl fresh out of the kiln here, our sunrise sipping bowl. It looks fire, it looks so good. It's orange with the pink on top to create our sunrise glaze. This bowl is food safe, dishwasher safe, microwave safe, it's good to go. So we did the whole process together, start to finish. We threw it, trimmed it, we fired it through both firings, glazed it together. We finally have a finished bowl here that can be used. This bowl is measured at 6 inches in diameter, and it's 3 inches tall, so it makes a great soup bowl, mixing bowl. It's kind of an all-purpose bowl for you guys. We glazed this one in our sunrise glaze, so it has these awesome spots of pink opal that shine through on top, and because we use the brushing technique, it creates this variation. I really enjoy that look, and the orange pops through so nicely. Now, this is a glossy glaze, so it's completely food safe. So we stamp each piece on the bottom with our signature Swan City Ceramics handmade in Florida stamp. So what do you guys think? What was your favorite part of this video? We really enjoyed throwing and trimming this for you, showing you the whole process from start to finish. So if you made it this far and you like this video, you want to support us, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and hit the bell to get notifications when we go live. Let us know what you want us to see us make next. We're going to make a ton of these videos from start to finish. We want to hear from you. Thanks for watching, guys.